Okay, so we have breaking news. Representative McCormick is finally speaking publicly after getting indicted for stealing $5 million of FEMA funds. Also, Democrat Jason Crow is now walking back his comments after that video instructing military personnel to defy the commander-in-chief's orders has backfired. We'll show you both sides to these stories, but let's start with what the representative just said.
Hi.
Your thoughts on the indictment, please.
Well, it's an unjust indictment, and it seems like these intimidation tactics have been pervasive. We spent all week seeing different members getting censured, all in hopes of intimidating and kind of distracting from the Epstein files. And I look forward to my day in court so I can prove myself and actually state the truth. But if this is what Congress is becoming, where they're always trying to intimidate you, scare tactics, especially attacking minorities, black and brown people, then we're going to have to keep fighting for the district. And everybody has been giving me so much support, and we're going to keep fighting until the district gets what it needs, which is fair prices, housing, and fair representation of Congress.
But did
thank you so
improperly
much.
What's your response to the calls from some of your colleagues to step down or resign?
They didn't elect me. It was my district, and so we'll keep fighting for the people and keep working like we're doing now until they get what they need. So we're here for the people. So the only people who elected me should make that decision. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, number one, that's the first time Representative McCormick spoke publicly after getting indicted. Number two, she's blaming it on the color of her skin, which is a bunch of bull, and that Congress is just playing games. No, you were playing games. That's exactly what happened, which leads me to number three. How did she get a hold of $5 million? Well, it's summed up in this post right here in front of you. Her family's company did COVID-19 work for the state of Florida. There was a situation where they sent an invoice to the state of Florida for $50,000, but the Florida Division of Emergency Management mistakenly paid them over $5 million. It's right here in the court documents, okay? They submitted one of the four invoices to FDEM on or about May 14th, 2021. And then what happened July 1st of 2021, the payment was $5 million. So given how black and white this is, you'd think Hakeem Jeffries would have a better response than what I'm about to show you right now. Take a look.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Are you at all concerned that the recent allegations against Democrats, such as communicating with a sex offender and embezzling FEMA funds, are going to harm the momentum that your party carried out of the elections earlier this month?
We're going to continue to focus on the issues that matter for the American people. Affordability, lower the high cost of living, healthcare. We've got to fix our broken healthcare system, and that begins with renewing the Affordable Care Act tax credits, not allowing Republicans to destroy the Affordable Care Act. And we have to clean up corruption, which we are experiencing in real time. And we've got to deal with in the Congress, in the Supreme Court, and certainly with this administration, which is running the largest pay-to-play scheme in the history of the world. Here's the interesting thing about Donald Trump and the Republicans. They've done nothing to make life better for everyday Americans, nothing to fix our broken healthcare system, nothing to lower the high cost of living, but everything in the world possible to enrich themselves, their friends, and their families. That's corruption in real time, and the American people are rejecting it.
Now, let's focus on the technical information of her indictment. Yes, it was FEMA funds that paid her family's company for COVID-19 services. Now, Republicans at the time actually believed she only received the money to help her campaign. Now, this is just ultimate corruption at the highest level, right? But of course, Hakeem Jeffries is going to deflect the entire way. I mean, this guy didn't even acknowledge the question. It's fascinating. But I want you guys to clearly hear the bottom line to this entire indictment and what actually took place. Take a look.
Sherfilis McCormick was running for a seat in the U.S. House in 2021. The Department of Justice says the Democrats stole $5 million in COVID-19 disaster funds to support her congressional campaign. A federal grand jury indicted Sherfilis McCormick and several co-defendants Wednesday. Prosecutors allege a healthcare company she ran with her brother was overpaid $5 million in FEMA funds for a vaccination staffing contract. They say the company received that money in July 2021, and Sherfilis McCormick used it for her campaign. The funds were routed through multiple accounts to disguise its source, they say. And a portion of the money was funneled to friends and family who donated to the campaign. It's the latest legal battle for Sheriff McCormick, who's already under investigation by the House Ethics Committee for campaign finance violations, including misreporting the source of a contribution. In a statement, Sheriff McCormick called the case a, quote, sham indictment, insisting she is innocent.
Okay, so bottom line is this. 1, clearly she committed crimes, helped her family, and stole FEMA funds. 2, Hakeem Jeffries will continue to deflect and claim that, no, it's Republicans and the president that are corrupt. 3, we know the Biden administration was as corrupt as you can be, especially with his family. That's why he had to pardon them on the way out. 4, the American people are starting to get fed up with this drama situation, okay?
It's incredibly bold. You know, one of the reasons is, as we've known for quite a while, that Democrats are so opposed to Republicans cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the federal budget. One of the reasons they're so opposed to DOJ, which I've spent a lot of my time working on, is because they're laundering federal money into their campaign accounts and into their personal bank accounts. This is a perfect example of that. She ought to be investigated very deeply. I think I'm glad to see charges are being brought. But this is somebody, if she is found guilty, who has no business being in Congress.
Yeah, and you make a better point, too. I mean, this obviously is straight up, the allegation here is just straight theft of federal money that's supposed to go, during COVID, during a pandemic, and just putting it right in her coffers. But how much of the money that is sent out from this country, from the State Department, from USAID, ends up being funneled back into the coffers of Democrat politicians? How much of the money that we give to the government do they end up spending on themselves to stay in power? That's such a scary thought.
It really is, and that's something that we've got to get to the bottom of. I think this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. You know, there's billions of dollars that historically have gone to a vast array of NGOs, the NGO industrial complex, the vast majority of which are left-leaning. And once that money goes out, oftentimes it's very difficult to track where it goes, to which entities or to which people or to which campaigns. These are the things that DOJ has been working on.
Yeah.
See, when I hear stories like this, it reminds me of what we need to focus on as individuals. You need to be focusing on your financial situation, your retirement plan. It's the same conversation I had with my mother-in-law, because every single day, crazy things are happening on Capitol Hill, and they don't have your best interest at heart. And what I told my mother-in-law is she needs to talk to people who can be trusted and are the experts. And I'm talking about Lear Capital. Okay, Lear Capital will educate you properly on how to take your hard-earned money, whatever your retirement plan may be, and find the best way to secure your future by looking at precious metals investing. Phenomenal program, phenomenal education. I'm even sold on it, okay? So with all this inflation, interest rates, global unrest, and more drama on Capitol Hill, I think you gotta focus on your financial future. Listen, you could take control of your traditional IRA, roll a portion of it into gold IRA, in case you didn't know that, and receive the same tax benefit. Listen, I'm not the expert. Lear Capital is. Give them a call, okay? These are my friends, all right? If you do so, you can get up to a $20,000 bonus in gold or silver with a qualified purchase. All you have to do is call Lear today at 1-800-920-8388 or go to leardevori.com. That link is in the description below. Again, the number is 1-800-920-8388. Yeah, and speaking of DOJ, because really when you think about this entire story, it's just another distraction. The American people elected representatives to go down to Congress, balance that damn budget, make sure that the services are doing right by the American citizens, stop wasting our money, stop dealing with all this corruption, and they just can't help themselves. In fact, it's getting so bad. You have Senator Kennedy just an hour ago calling out his own party and literally how incompetent they've been regarding the budget. Take a look.
Why have we sat around for 5 months and not started on the second reconciliation bill? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, in my opinion, I'm just making an observation. To me, it's a 12-piece bucket of stupid not to do another reconciliation bill and to waste 5 months before we even start on a second reconciliation bill, assuming that we get started tomorrow. I mean, humans are supposed to have evolved as a species. Why would we not do a second reconciliation bill? Think of what we could do. I mean, moms and dads all across America tonight are going to lie down to sleep and they won't be able to. What are they worried about? Well, they're worried about the cost of housing, for one thing. They're worried about the cost of home insurance. They're worried about the cost of flood insurance. They're worried about the cost of health insurance. We all know that. They're worried about the cost of living.
Now, in case you don't know what a reconciliation bill is and why it's important, it's very simple. It's in the name. It's a moment for them to audit exactly where every dollar is going and pass a bill that cuts certain programs, cuts certain spending, adds new spending, whatever you want to call it. It's reconciling the budget. When we talk about the rescission cuts, when we talk about what DOGE was able to achieve, we're talking about reconciliation. And the fact that they haven't even done one since March tells you how incompetent they truly are. So I'm with Senator Kennedy on this one. Okay, let's keep it moving here. Next story is, I guess the Department of Justice is now investigating or potentially going to investigate the Democrats who made that video encouraging members of the military to defy orders from the commander-in-chief. Take a look.
Well, the investigation would absolutely be under what their intent was in saying this. And the question, we've all watched this a lot today, and the question you have to ask yourself is, what is their intent? What is the reason that they all went on a video and encouraged young men and women to defy court orders without even giving a hint of what's illegal, without even giving any suggestion of what law or what order they're being asked to violate? You cannot do that in this country, especially if you're a leader. And so what does the investigation look like? I think they should be held to account. I think that those congressmen should be required to answer questions and to answer questions about why they did what they did. And the American people deserve that, and so does President Trump.
Now, the interesting thing about all this, you have Jason Crow going back onto CNN today and walking back his comments. This is just pure gold. Listen to this.
So are you saying that there was not necessarily any particular precipitating event? There is no specific thing out there that made you decide now is the right time?
That's right. To be clear, we are not calling on folks right now to disobey any type of unlawful order.
Well, wait a minute. I thought that's exactly what he was doing yesterday. I thought that's exactly what the video was all about. Reminding them that they can defy lawful orders, and especially the fact that they can defy unlawful orders. Yeah, he knows he's getting heat for this. They know they were wrong for doing that video. And of course, he's got to walk it back at this point. It's just a shame. But he's a walking contradiction, because here he is on MS Now, also known as MSDNC, saying this.
But listen, I'm a paratrooper. I'm used to being behind enemy lines and being surrounded. This is exactly where I want to be. And to lead in this moment right now requires that we say what needs to be said, that we be bold and we be unafraid, right? Fear is contagious, but so is courage. So I will not be cowed by this president.
It's all smoke and mirrors, guys. It's just a political theater show. That's exactly what it is. And it's a shame, because they continue to waste the American people's time. There have been no unlawful orders delivered to the soldiers in the military. In fact, the last time military members defied orders, what happened to them? They got kicked out of the military for not taking the vaccine. So again, this is a complete waste of people's time. Now, for people who want to see a little bit more drama, take a look at this exchange between Jesse Waters and Jessica on the 5. Take a look.
And how down in the dirt he gets, even looking today, calling for the execution of elected officials, and made a video that he didn't like.
If convicted. Execution if convicted.
There was no if convicted, first of all, from the thing that he re-truthed. Why are you smiling? It's disgusting.
Why are you? You're not that upset.
Tell us what it says.
But
stop it. No, I'm not upset about her calling him vile, and I'm not upset about the sedition thing either.
Well, you should be, actually, because that actually proves out
I'll
the Democrats'
decide when I'm
point.
upset.
No,
You don't decide when I'm upset.
They made a video
Except
saying
when you
this
make me
guy
upset.
might
You're
ask
starting
you
to make
do
me
a
upset.
Wait, by the way.
All right, so that exchange represents exactly what would happen if you took two people from opposite sides of the political spectrum and had them debate over this issue, okay? Not a lot of common sense there. At the end of the day, members of Congress should not be making videos like that. I think we all can agree to that, okay? Let's go to our next update, and this is actually bad news regarding the Adam Schiff case. You have federal officials investigating the federal officials who are taking charge of this indictment, who were a part of the investigation into Adam Schiff. I know this is a crazy update. Take a listen.
The DOJ is investigating the investigation itself into mortgage fraud allegations surrounding California Senator Adam Schiff. We're told federal investigators are honing in on some of the people behind the probe and the methods used. Fox has confirmed investigators with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland in Greenbelt today met with a woman who submitted a tip earlier this year regarding Schiff. Her name is Christine Bish. She tells Fox News she received a subpoena to testify before a Maryland grand jury. She flew to Maryland from California, but did not meet with the grand jury. Instead, she met with investigators today and says she will meet with the grand jury in the future. Bish is a Republican congressional candidate in California, and she tells Fox News she came prepared to discuss her allegations against Schiff, but instead was peppered with questions about the investigation itself, including some of those behind the probe.
It makes me think that the investigators are investigating the investigators. They didn't want to talk about the Adam Schiff case. And then towards the end of the interview, they made a point of telling me that the only one being investigated was Adam Schiff. But that's not what the questions were.
Can we stop really quick and just kind of process all this? Investigators investigating the investigators. Say that 5 times fast, right? If this isn't deep state, then I don't know what is. Okay, I think this is a great example of how they've been caught in the public eye now, attempting to undermine this administration and work against the president.
At screen left is Ed Martin, who has a wide range of responsibilities at the DOJ. He's looking into mortgage fraud allegations surrounding high-profile Democrats. On the right, Bill Pulte, another ally of the president, who's the head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and made some of the referrals to DOJ. Now, New York Attorney General Letitia James is facing mortgage fraud-related charges. Senator Schiff and Congressman Eric Swalwell, there on the right, have not been charged with any crime. Former Director James Comey, he's been charged with lying to Congress in a separate matter. But his case brought in jeopardy after a judge questioned the DOJ, asking about possibly committing procedural, quote, missteps.
All right. So I think you guys are starting to hear the narrative, right? And the narrative is very clear that the president instructed the DOJ to go after his political opponents. And in the process of doing that, they may have violated procedures, or they may have done corrupt things themselves, even broken the law in order to secure an indictment against someone like Adam Schiff. That's the narrative that I see forming here. And to confirm that, all you got to do is listen to this next clip from CNN. Take a look.
So, Caitlin, the bottom line here appears to be that the Justice Department's investigation of Adam Schiff may have a serious structural flaw. Let me flesh that out. If there are people out there who are not prosecutors, not federal law enforcement agents, interviewing crucial witnesses like Ms. Bish, that could be a problem for the investigation. If there are people out there who are wrongly saying or suggesting they're law enforcement agents when they're not, we don't know if that's happening, but if that's happening, that too is a major problem. And most importantly, if there is grand jury information, if there are documents or testimony that prosecutors have gotten from other sources, and it's being given out to people who are not in that inner circle of prosecutors and cops handling the case, that could be a violation of grand jury rules. And so the points that Ms. Bish raises, I think, raises those questions about the way that DOJ is handling its Adam Schiff investigation.
I mean, this is just a complete mess. I mean, if you have people posing as federal agents doing these interviews, I mean, the Trump administration has problems on their hands. Now, there's no doubt that they've always had a vetting issue, okay? Just look at Laura Loomer's account. I mean, every week she's exposing somebody, right? And if this pans out to be exactly what we are hearing from both sides, Fox News and CNN, that people are investigating witnesses, I mean, this is a big problem. Listen, what we want in the end is accountability and convictions. That's not going to happen if people are playing around with the case. People are posing as federal agents, throwing people off their game, getting them to possibly violate certain procedures. I mean, they've got to have their P's and Q's in order and execute this flawlessly, because if they don't, then they're no better than Letitia James, Fani Willis, and the rest of them. They will get caught up. The conviction will be thrown out or appealed. We know how this is going to pan out, okay? All right, so let's hear from you guys in the comments section below. Let's get your reaction to Representative McCormick, who finally spoke out publicly. We went more into depth about how she got access to that $5 million and what she did with it. What do you think should happen to her next? Also, what do you make of what Senator John Kennedy had to say in the Senate? I mean, these guys, they're incompetent. They're not getting anything done, really. Also, what do you make of this entire situation regarding Democrats trying to instruct military personnel to defy President Trump's orders? You see that they're now walking it back. Just give me your entire reaction and your thoughts in the comment section below. Now this takes us to our next video, where a criminal who's been arrested 49 times in Chicago just burned a lady on the subway. This is an insane story. If you guys missed out on that update and more from earlier today, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.